Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, all good things must come to an end, and that includes the Dodgers winning streak. Dodgers lost to the Twins 5-1. Clayton Kershaw was uncharacteristically not bad, just not sharp, not efficient. Didn't give the Dodgers the depth they needed. And the bullpen, behind the eight ball after the long day the day before. Really, the story was the offense didn't hit. We're going to talk about all that stuff on this episode. So let's get Locked On Dodgers.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, folks. This is Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Remember, this show is free and available on all podcast platforms and on YouTube simply by searching for Locked On Dodgers. Or even better, go ahead and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening right now, and then you can be an everydayer just like we are. If this is your first time with us, I am Jeff Snider. My normal co-host is Vince Samperio, although it's just me today. Vince and I are both lifelong Dodger fans just like you are. We've also both spent time covering the Dodgers in the press box and the locker room. So we're not quite insiders, but we bring you the smart fans perspective on our boys in blue every weekday morning. And with that said, let's jump in. If you notice, at least early in this episode, that I keep looking this direction, that's my second monitor over there where I currently have the D-backs and A's on my screen. It's the bottom of the 11th inning. It's currently tied 8-8. And the A's are up with the runner on second, the ghost runner on second, zombie runner, Manfred man, whatever you want to call it. And nobody out, 0-2 on the batter. So I'm just have my eye on this because on Monday, all five teams in the National League West won. And now on Tuesday, I'm recording this at 10:30 p.m. LA time, 11:30 p.m. where I am. And so far, only the Giants have won. The Dodgers, Rockies, and Padres have all already lost. And the D-backs looked like they were going to blow out the A's. But then former Dodger minor leaguer Ryan Noda hit a grand slam in the seventh inning to tie the game up. And now it's still 8-8 and the first guy just popped up in the infield. So there's one out in the bottom of the 11th now. Anyway, so it's kind of fun to like, it's too early for scoreboard watching really. But the D-backs are in second place in the division. They're currently, with the Dodgers loss, they're 2.5 games back. If the D-backs win this game, they'll be 2 games back. If the A's can pull it out, the D-backs will remain 3 games back. And, doesn't really matter. As far as the Dodgers are concerned, I'm sure the Dodgers aren't even aware this game's still going on because they know if they take care of their business, they're going to finish ahead of the D-backs if the Dodgers play the way the Dodgers can and should play. But for me, as a fan, it's kind of fun. It's kind of interesting to see what happens here. And it's fun to have somebody to root against or to root for or whatever. So anyway, but this Dodger game, the Dodgers lost 5-1 to the Twins, as I mentioned. And Clayton Kershaw was one of the big stories. It's pitching 3 days after his mom passed away. I can't even imagine doing that. A lot of respect to Kershaw for doing that. And I don't think that he necessarily felt obligated from a baseball standpoint. I think it's just, it made sense, to make this start. And then I assume he'll be the one, he'll go on bereavement. That'll be the active roster change to get a new relief pitcher onto the roster because they've been overworked. The bullpen had to throw 8 innings on Monday. Kershaw only got through 4 innings here in this game. And so the bullpen had to throw 5 more innings. So they've thrown 13 innings. Feel bad for Justin Brule. The day after pitching, he threw, I think, 30 pitches on Monday, and then he had to throw 2 innings on Tuesday, and he ended up giving up a 2-run homer to Kyle Farmer. Kudos to him. I mean, I wouldn't say the Dodgers punted this game, but their top priority was not winning this game from a pitching standpoint. Now, it would have been nice if the offense could have made up for that and said, hey, I know that we're behind the 8 ball on the pitching, but let's go ahead and win this anyway. That didn't happen. I'll talk more about the offense in the second segment, but Kershaw for me was kind of the story because of the whole backstory. Obviously before the game started, I had these grand illusions, these dreams of, wouldn't it be great if Kershaw threw a no-hitter to honor his mom or, just had a great start, just something really emotional. Instead, Donovan Solano, the leadoff hitter, first batter of the game, hits a double. He ends up scoring on a Kyle Farmer double a couple batters later. And, and that was basically it. The Dodgers never even tied the game again. They trailed the whole game after like 3 batters. And all in all, I said yesterday, we can't really expect Kershaw to give us 7 innings like he did last week after Noah Syndergaard's short outing. We were hoping for 6, would have taken 5, got 4. It was, and Kershaw wasn't bad. Like I said in the opening, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't efficient and he wasn't sharp. He had 7 strikeouts in 4 innings. He had a lot of swing and miss, but it seemed like everything the Twins did put the bat on worked out for the Twins. They had some infield singles. They had some bloop singles. They had just, they had a couple of hard hit balls too, but mostly it was just 1,000 paper guts kind of game, and the kind of game where it really was all or nothing. Hey, I'm going to swing and miss, or I'm going to get a hit. And that's frustrating. And so Kershaw ended up throwing 90 pitches in 4 innings, more pitches than he threw in 7 innings last week. And I couldn't have done that 3 days after my mom passed away. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It takes a different breed to be a Major League Baseball player to start with. Definitely takes a different breed to be one of the best pitchers of all time, like Clayton Kershaw is. And so, I'm not surprised that he was able to pitch shortly after his mom passed away. I'm also not surprised that, I don't know if that had anything to do with his struggles. But, in the end, it was a rough game for Kershaw, and he wasn't able to give the Dodgers what they needed as far as length to give the bullpen a rest. That means that the Dodgers are definitely going to have to make a roster move. Dylan Covey was in the locker room on the taxi squad for this game on Tuesday. And Dave Roberts said before the game that Covey was on the taxi squad and could be called up if they needed bullpen coverage for Wednesday's game. It's a day game on Wednesday. Assuming they stick with Covey, that seems likely to happen. I think Kershaw will go on bereavement and Covey will be called up. They will have to make a 40-man roster move. I think Jimmy Nelson is available to put on the 60-day injured list. And so that would be the corresponding 40-man move. Probably you bring up Covey. The question will be whether it's only one. Dave Roberts said it'll only be one after the game. And I guess they didn't use Brusdar Graterol. They didn't use Evan Phillips in this game. They got 2 innings from Shelby Miller, and they got 2 innings from Justin Brule. Those are both big. They ended up only having to use 3 relievers because those guys each went 2 innings after both pitching yesterday. Those guys deserve a lot of credit, even though they gave up the last 3 runs of the game. That's why I say winning from a pitching standpoint wasn't the top priority here. It was, let's get through this game. Who do we have who can throw more innings for us, even though they pitched yesterday? And that was the route they went. And it ended up not working out ideally. Victor Gonzalez pitched a good inning. He didn't pitch yesterday. The rest of the time, to get through the game with only using 3 relievers after Kershaw only gives you 4 innings, that's a win. It's not a win, in the record book or on the scoreboard, obviously, but it is a win as far as what they were trying to do to reset their pitching staff. They will still need to call up Dylan Covey. Nice thing is with Kershaw going on bereavement, they don't have to send down a reliever. And so it really does give them that 9th reliever for the 3 days that Kershaw's gone. And then Kershaw can come back Kershaw said he's going to make his start on Sunday in St. Louis. I'm going to come back in a minute. I am going to talk a little bit about the offense, and then later we're going to talk about what this means for the series. The Dodgers are actually in danger of losing a series for the first time in a long time. So we'll talk about the offense. Then in the last segment, we'll talk about that. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning, and please keep it Locked On Dodgers. This episode is brought to you by So Rare. Our new sponsor, So Rare, is a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace, transforming fans and owners with officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. And unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play. And these rewards can be pretty awesome. MLB game, so rare MLB game weeks happen twice weekly and span a 3 to 4 day cycle. At the end of game weeks, So Rare MLB managers who rank at or near the top of their leaderboards win a variety of rewards, which can include So Rare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys, and VIP experiences, like meeting MLB stars, like Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez. We know are partnered up with So Rare. Possibly others too, as the season goes on. Prizes may vary depending on the competition. So head to sorare.com/lockedon That's spelled SORARE.com/lockedon to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/lockedon to start playing today. All right, I'm back. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. If you are watching on YouTube, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below. If you're listening on the podcast, we'd love to hear from you through social media or email. I'll give you all the contact info at the end like I always do. Also want to remind you that the Dodgers play at 12:10 p.m. LA time today, Wednesday, in the series finale. And if you are at work or otherwise indisposed, so you can't be watching the game on TV, great way to listen to the local hometown broadcast is on Sirius XM on the SXM app. Just search for Dodgers. Or if you do happen to be in your car, they will be on channel 177 on Sirius XM today at 12:10 Pacific time. With that said, let's talk about the offense in this game. Dodgers had 4 leadoff doubles in this game. Only one of them scored, and that took almost an act of God or something. It was a little blooper with 2 outs by Freddie Freeman that Michael Taylor had in his glove, and it popped out, slow motion. It seemed like it was in the glove forever, but in real time, it's a quarter of a second. He had it in his glove though, and it just popped out at the end, and that allowed Miguel Rojas to score. He had a leadoff double. That was one of those frustrating doubles because the previous inning, the Dodgers had first and third and 2 outs after a leadoff double by Max Muncy and then a single by JD Martinez. And with 2 outs, Rojas was up and they tried to do a double steal. Martinez tried to get caught in a pickle between first and second to let Muncy steal home. Instead, Muncy got thrown out at home to end the inning. So Rojas led off the next inning with a double that would have scored at least 1 run and maybe 2. I guess JD Martinez on first wouldn't have scored on that. But in the end, it's one of those things where obviously you don't want him to not get a hit, but there's always that what might have been when an inning ends on the bases and then the next inning, the guy who was up to bat gets a big hit. But yeah, so Rojas scored the only run. The other times, all 3 times the Dodgers had a leadoff double, they stranded the guy. And you can't win a game like that. And after the game, Nomar and Jerry Hairston were talking about not playing small ball, not moving runners over and stuff. And they weren't as annoying about it as they sometimes are, as far as, when I was your age, we used to hit the ball to the right side. But it's not wrong that you would like to see them advancing runners. I'm not a fan of giving yourself up. And I actually like the way Jerry Hairston worded it today when he was talking about it. He was talking about trying to drive the ball to right field. I don't think it's as simple as that, because a lot of times if you're a right-handed hitter and you do try to hit it to right field, you sometimes will hit a ground ball or, get a hit or do something, at least a productive out or an RBI hit. But sometimes you do pop out to second or hit a lazy fly to right field that's not deep enough to advance the runner. It's not as simple as every time you hit the ball to right field, it's going to move the runner over. And it's not that simple when guys are throwing as well as pitchers throw these days to hit the ball where you want to. But, in this game, there definitely wasn't that. I don't think it was for a lack of effort or a lack of understanding the situation. It's just sometimes things don't work out. And so update on this DBacks A's game. The A's didn't score in the bottom 11. Now it's the top of the 12th, 2 outs, and the zombie runner has moved to third base. Ketel Marte is up with 2 outs, 0-1 count in the top of the 12th. The D-backs haven't scored yet in extra innings. Neither have the A's, but D-backs are in danger of going 3 straight innings without scoring. Pitcher almost threw a wild pitch to break that up while I was talking. But this Dodger game, back to the Dodger game. It's sorry to give you a play-by-play for a game that's over by the time you're listening to this. But I don't know that there's anything necessarily the offense could have done differently. I think they were probably tired after yesterday, which so were the Twins. They played the same game, so it's not that big a deal. Ketel Marte shattered his bat, hit a little looper right back at the pitcher. He caught it to end the top of the 12th. Not really an excuse, but it was, they just didn't quite have it today. They, like I said, they had the leadoff doubles. They had some chances. They just didn't get it done. And that happens. And it's easy to get frustrated, but it's also easy to remember, they had won a bunch of games in a row. They've still won 14 out of their last 17, something like that. And so they're still in really good shape. They're still in first place in the division, and they have a chance to start another winning streak today, Wednesday. That's the great thing about baseball. You always come back and you play the next day. And it'll be a tough challenge, as I'll talk about in the next segment. But a couple things I liked from the offense in this. James Outman put the bat on the ball a couple times. He did strike out a couple times too, but he had a fly out that was reasonably deep, not great. And he had a decently hard hit ground ball out. Hopefully those are signs of him breaking out. He's been really struggling lately, and it's to be expected. We do understand that struggles happen, especially with rookies. Guys start off hot and then the league catches up, or they just hit a slump, or whatever it is. And that's what's happening with Outman right now. He's always been a swing and miss kind of guy in his minor league career, in his big league career. He strikes out a lot, and we shouldn't be surprised by that. When he does hit the ball, he hits it pretty darn hard most of the time. And, you know, they were talking on the broadcast, Joe Davis and Eric Karras were talking about how teams are attacking Outman up in the zone and even above the zone a little bit. And he's going to have to figure that out. And we saw that with Cody Bellinger the last couple of years. Outman's either going to have to figure out how to hit that pitch or how to not swing at that pitch. And the point Eric Karras made that I really liked was pitchers don't hit their spots every time. And so it's not as simple as saying, just throw my half fastball every time, because if Outman can identify, okay, this one is high out of the zone, don't swing at those. And then the ones where they're trying to hit high top of the zone, hope they make some mistakes, drop it down a little bit, and then you punish those mistakes. That's the key, is don't swing at pitches out of the zone and punish the mistakes when they happen. You can be a successful hitter even with a lot of swing and miss in your game if you are efficient at punishing mistakes and not swinging at pitches outside the zone. And I think Outman's going to get that back. I think Outman is going to have a good season. I don't think this streak is a sign that he is he's a worse hitter than he was the first couple of weeks of the season, the first month of the season, whatever, because he was playing over his head. James Outman isn't going to be a 1100 OPS kind of guy for his career. That guy's name is Barry Bonds. James Outman is going to be a good hitter, but he's also going to strike out a lot. And that's who he's going to be. And hopefully he can get past this cold stretch sooner than later and get back on, even if it's not as hot as he was early in the season, at least get back to being a productive guy who you can count on once in a while to get a big hit and just put together good at bats. Part of the challenge of this game was your 7, 8, 9 hitters were David Peralta, Miguel Rojas, and Austin Barnes. Rojas did have a double. Barnes did have a meaningless single in garbage time in the 9th inning. And Peralta has had some big hits for the Dodgers, but overall, all three of those guys are not hitting well this year. And it does, when you've got Will Smith and Miguel Vargas on the bench and playing those guys, like, I get it. And I don't know what the answer is. We talked last week about how I'd like to see Will Smith getting starts at DH when Austin Barnes has to catch. I'm also at the point where I want Barnes catching less often. I don't want Barnes catching every Kershaw start, because that makes it more likely that Kershaw will lose because Barnes can't hit as well as Will Smith, the catcher or the actor. I don't want Barnes catching as often. Once a week. That's all I want Barnes catching these days. Just enough to give Smith the time off he needs. And then, whenever Smith is off of catcher, have him playing DH. Vargas, I understand he needs a day off once in a while too. I don't know if it needed to be this game or if they could have staggered that. Dave Roberts knows his team better than I do. And maybe there's something about Bailey Ober particularly that he thought this is a good game to give Vargas a day off. They are playing a day game today, and, playing a night game and then a day game, it makes sense. You'd try to get a couple guys off their feet knowing that they're going to be playing tomorrow. It all makes sense. It was just one of those games that nothing really went right for the Dodgers, pitching wise or offensively. And the end result was an ugly loss. They lost 5-1. Yeah. I'm going to come back in a minute. I am going to talk about this game on Wednesday and the fact that the Dodgers are in real danger of losing a series for the first time in a long time. So thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. And please keep it Locked On Dodgers. We have a new sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. And Bird Dogs is they're a clothing company, and I got to tell you, so they sent some Bird Dogs clothes over to us, all of us hosts, and I am really, really impressed. I actually got them. I'm not really a clothes hound. I wear kind of the same stuff every day, and I'm pretty comfortable in what I'm in. But my son, my 16-year-old son, loves clothes. He loves being comfortable and looking good. Looking good isn't really in the cards for me. And so I got them in my son's size, and I got to tell you, he loves them. One of the cool things that I've been asking him to tell me, I knew I had to read this ad today, and I told him, what do you like? What do you not like? He hasn't told me anything he doesn't like. He said they are probably the most comfortable shorts he's ever worn. And I didn't know this was going to be a selling point for my son. They've got the liner inside, the built-in underwear, I guess you'd call it, like swimming trunks. And I've only worn those in swimming trunks in my life. But what my son says is they are so comfortable. And it's like, he said it's remarkable how much he likes wear. And I saw him wearing them, and I'm like, wait, those shorts are comfortable? Because they look good. They look like classy shorts. Like, he's going to wear these shorts to school today, Wednesday, and it's going to be, nobody's going to have any idea that he's wearing the most comfortable shorts he's ever worn. They look great. They feel great. They are super, I've touched it. They're soft and comfortable. Like, they are great shorts. They also make pants. They make joggers. They make, khaki looking pants. They have a ton of stuff that they're doing, and you can go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB, and you enter promo code LockedOnMLB. They will throw in a free custom Bird Dogs Yeti style tumbler with every order, and you will like these shorts. You will love these shorts. I can promise you that. They are, my son is a very demanding customer. He loves them. You're going to love them just as much. So go to birddogs.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code LockedOnMLB. You'll get a free tumbler with every purchase. Check it out now. All right, I am back. I want to thank you again for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen every weekday morning. Also, want to remind you that you can catch today's day game. If you can't watch it on TV, you can catch it on Sirius XM on channel 177 or on the SXM app just by searching for Dodgers. You can also listen to this podcast on the SXM app anytime just by searching for Locked On Dodgers. Quick update on the game that is already over by the time you're listening. It's the bottom of the 12th inning. The A's have bases loaded, one out, and Esteury Ruiz up to bat. They actually had him up in the 10th inning too with one out, and he struck out looking. So let's see if he can get the job done this time. I think it was bases loaded last time too. It's 2-0 now. We might get a walk-off walk like the Dodgers had with Trace Thompson. Pitching for Scott McGuff is still pitching for the D-backs. I think he's pitched all 3 extra innings. I think this is at least his 3rd inning at work. I didn't turn it on until the 10th inning. So pretty exciting stuff going on over on that screen. Less exciting stuff happened in the Dodger game, obviously. And today's game, the day game, the rubber match, and Ruiz just hit a ball off Nick Ahmed's foot to end the game. A's win the game 9-8, which means the Dodgers lead in the division stays at 3 games. And the only team to pick up ground on the Dodgers on Tuesday night with the loss was the Giants, and they are pretty far back still anyway. So good job, A's. I didn't think you had it in you. Still not sure you do, but somehow you got it done. All right. Now I don't have to look. I closed that window, so now I don't have to look at that screen anymore. My focus is all on you guys now. Sonny Gray is pitching for the Twins, and Sonny Gray has been outstanding this year. Best ERA in baseball. He's a guy who's pitched against the Dodgers a lot in the past, and at least to my memory, he's done really well against them. I actually should have pulled this up maybe when before I started recording. I didn't even think of it. But let's see. Against the Dodgers in his career, he has Los Angeles Dodgers. Where are we? A 3.16. Oh, he's 1-3, but a 3.16 ERA, which is pretty darn good. 39 strikeouts and 31 1/3 innings. I bet that more recently he's had. Oh no, so I might be thinking back to a while back because last year the Dodgers actually got to him 4 2/3 innings, and oh, that's right, that was that game in Minnesota. I remember that now. And so they have gotten to him in the last 2019, 2021, and 2022. He is 0-3 with combined, 4-something ERA in those 3 years. But Sonny Gray is a good pitcher. And this actually, I'm glad I looked that up because I actually feel a little bit better now going into this game because I was nervous. It seemed like the Dodgers might lose a series for the first time in a long time. I think they've won like 6 straight series or something, and they still could. That Sonny Gray is very good, and they could lose this game. I'm hoping that they can come out. Dustin May should be on his game and can hopefully get the job done on the mound, and the offense can bounce back from this one-run game. We've seen it a lot earlier in the season when the Dodgers were really hit and miss. They did have a tendency to have a bad game and then follow it up with a really good game offensively. Hopefully they can get an angry win here and win another series before they head to St. Louis for a 4-game series. It's going to be hard to win that series in St. Louis too, because a 4-game series is always hard to win because you got to win 3 out of 4. And the Cardinals have been playing really, really well. When the Dodgers faced them in LA, they weren't playing well. And some of that was because the Dodgers were playing them. But the Cardinals have been playing better lately, and they are not a different team, but they're playing better than they were when the Dodgers played them a couple of weeks ago. And so hopefully, the Dodgers can beat the Twins and Sonny Gray and get some momentum going heading into this series with the Cardinals. It's always weird doing an episode after a loss that ended a long winning streak because, this game sucked. But overall, if you look, like I said, Dodgers have won 14 out of their last 17 games. If they win 14 out of every 17 games, they'll have a good season. Write that down. It's just, but losing any game sucks. And I do always preach that regular season losses, you got to just let these things roll off. Even the best teams, the Dodgers last year lost 51 games in the regular season. And I personally refuse to get upset 51 times or 60 times or 70 times. Good teams lose 70 games sometimes. I'm not going to get upset that many times during the regular season. I'm saving all of that for the postseason, especially right now when overall in the grand scheme, the Dodgers are playing really well and there's just one bad game. And so hopefully they can bounce back, get an angry win against Sonny Gray and win this series and get that momentum back heading to St. Louis. That's all I really want for them. I'm interested to see what they do pitching staff wise. If it really is just Dylan Covey, if they go with somebody other than Dylan Covey, I don't know what they're going to do, but whatever it is, they should be in good shape because they should have 9 relievers, including 7 who are available. I would assume everybody except for Justin Brule and Shelby Miller will be available. And that's, that should be plenty to get them through because Dustin May will hopefully give them 6 strong innings. He's pitched really well the last couple times. And I'd love to see him dominate here. If you remember, he was my pick for the Dodgers Cy Young winner, not the overall league Cy Young winner, but the Dodgers best pitcher this year in the preseason. I think Dustin May is in line for a good season. I hope he can keep that up this next game today. That's about all I have for today. Sorry, it's a little bit scrambled. I do really enjoy kind of these live tweeting, except not tweeting, live podcasting a game that even though I know it's going to be over. You remember a year or two ago, I did a LA car chase while I was recording the episode. I also kept it on the car chase. But it was a good day, good day for the Padres and D-backs to also lose. Dodgers don't lose any ground in the division. No harm done. Win tomorrow, win the series, get it done. And with that said, that's about it for me for today. Vince and I should be back together tomorrow. I know Vince is going to the game, but it is a day game. And so we should be good to record together in the evening like we normally do. If you're going to be at the game, cheer hard for us, boo hard for Carlos Correa, bring us home a win. And have a good time. I was at the day game a couple of weeks ago, the last game of the series against the Phillies. That game was a blast. It was the game that ended on the Max Muncy Grand Slam. Day games at Dodger Stadium can be a lot of fun. I hope you have a lot of fun there today for that game. And we appreciate you watching or listening to Locked On Dodgers every day. Remember that if you can't catch the game on TV or in person, you can always catch it on SiriusXM or the SXM app. Just search for Dodgers. If you are in your car, it'll be on channel 177 today. It's the hometown broadcast, so it's a lot of fun way to follow the game if you can't be watching on TV or be there in person. If you're not an everydayer here with us, look, it's a really easy club to join. All you got to do to join the Everydayer Club, just watch or listen every day or close to it. We're not going to check your internet history, but be here with us every day. We love talking Dodgers with you. We love hearing from you. You can follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at Locked On Dodgers. Vince is on Twitter at Vince Samperio. Not Vince Samperio. That's his old one. Vince since 91. I'm on Twitter at Snydog. Mine doesn't change. And DMs are open in all of those places. You can also email us at lockedondodgers@gmail.com, or you can send us a voicemail or a text message to 323-863-LOCK5625. We are here every weekday morning, and we hope you'll be here with us. When you get in your car or sit on your couch, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Dodgers. And remember, you don't have to agree. You just have to listen. We'll talk to you tomorrow.